Hello and welcome back to the High Altitude Investing live stream. Today is the 22nd of May and crypto is just looking really exciting right now. So even though normally I do my live streams on Saturday, which I still might, it's my grandma's funeral this Saturday, so it depends on what time that is. I'm still not sure what time that's going to be. But hey, figured I'd do a live stream today either way and talk about the markets and what I think is coming for the crypto markets, especially on the larger time frames, what I'm seeing for these markets, because there is a lot of reasons to be super excited about what's going on in the wonderful world of crypto. So yeah, welcome to the stream, everybody. Thank you for tuning in today. Bitcoin broke out to a new all-time high. Look at that. Huge breakout through resistance here, all the way up to 111,000, which is pretty exciting. I mean, that is a very nice move here on Bitcoin. And personally, I've been talking about Bitcoin going to 250,000 per coin for a long time now. And in fact, I've been talking about Bitcoin hitting 100K per coin since 2017 back here. So when Bitcoin first hit 100K, that was a target that I was targeting for a very, very long time. And over here is when I started looking at the extensions for Bitcoin reaching 250K per coin. And that's my target for this cycle. My minimum target for Bitcoin is $250,000 per coin, which is actually pretty close. I mean, that's not very far away. Like in terms of percentage gain, Bitcoin only has to go up like 126% before we're at 250,000 per coin. So honestly, because we're kind of getting into that phase of the market now where we're going to really go parabolic, 250K might be too low of a target. We'll have to see how high this thing goes. It can go pretty high. So Arthur, welcome to the stream. Good to see you tuning in. Daily dose of bass and catfishing. That's a dope YouTube channel name. What do you think about XRP? Where is that going to go? Yeah, so we'll talk about XRP in a second. When I'm done here talking about Bitcoin, we'll go right into XRP for you. Octahedron, sup, Dallin? Well, what's up, Octahedron? Thank you for tuning in to today's stream. Crypto Rocker says, hey, Big D, what's your thoughts on ICP? Jay Kane, yeah, here we go. Lol. Yes, here we go. That's exactly right. This is the beginning of something very, very big for the crypto markets. I firmly believe that. William Harvey says hello. Hello, William. Thank you for tuning in. And yeah, we'll finish talking about Bitcoin and we'll go straight into XRP and ICP and yeah, so we'll pull up Bitcoin actually over here on Coinbase. I like to use this chart a little bit more over here on Coinbase. It's just cleaner, has more accurate representation of volume. It has a more accurate representation of the volume over here. So Bitcoin, like I said, I think Bitcoin is going to hit 250,000 per coin. Like it's going to go pretty high in this bull market. I'm not talking about in another cycle. I'm talking about in this bull market. I think Bitcoin could reach 250,000 per coin, which we're worth 111,000 right now. So honestly, like I was just saying, that's probably, it could be too low of a target. Like that could be too low, to be honest with you. I don't know if you guys have ever studied market cycles and the way that they work and how parabolic things can go, but if we pull a Bitcoin over here again, so we're going to compare Bitcoin to Bitcoin. And let's just take a look at the 2017 bull market here and see just how parabolic Bitcoin was in 2017. So over here is Bitcoin in 2017, and here is Bitcoin currently. So if you kind of stretch out the chart so you can line up these two charts and get an idea of just how high Bitcoin could go, you get a pretty good idea of how parabolic this thing could go. 250K. So I don't know how many of you guys were here in 2017 when I was making a lot of videos and when my channel first really started to grow in 2017 during the crypto bull market back there. It was really fun. It was way fun in 2017. But what a lot of people don't remember is just how parabolic Bitcoin went. A lot of people, they forget or they weren't there for that cycle, so they don't understand the market and the way the market can move. Bitcoin went way high. Like it just blew everybody's expectations away. And I remember I made a video about Bitcoin when Bitcoin was worth around $3,000 right here in 2017. Here's the 2017 bull run over here on the right. When Bitcoin was worth about $3,000, I made a video calling for $10,000 per coin. And everybody was like, no way is that going to happen. Or at least a lot of people were skeptical. I don't know about everybody. That's a little bit of an exaggeration. But a lot of people were skeptical of my call, right? And then it went all the way up to $20,000 per coin. It blew even my personal target completely away. And it went all the way up to 250,000 in this run on Bitcoin. And 20,000, my bad, not 250,000. So we had a run that was over, it was, well, not over, but it was just about double what I was expecting for the Bitcoin bull market. I was planning on 10K per Bitcoin, and it went all the way to 20 in 2017. So it blew my target away. It went higher than my target. Now over here with Bitcoin today, if we're looking at Bitcoin right now, we're really kind of going into that phase where things are going to start ramping up pretty quickly. And I promise we're going to get to ICP and XRP in just a second, and whatever other altcoins you guys are calling for or wanting me to do analysis on today. But yeah, I was calling for 20,000 or 10,000 per coin, and it went all the way to 20,000 per coin. Like it just completely blew away my target. And really, my target this cycle is 250K. It could, we're getting to that phase where things are going to kind of look like this, where the bull market's just going to start ramping up in a way that people are just going to be blown away. They're not even expecting it right now. So yeah, it really could go up to 400K. Like it could hit 425K. It really could. Like it could go a lot higher. It could double my target. You know, I have 250K as a target. We could hit 400K, maybe not quite 500K. We might. It's possible for us to hit that high. But I definitely wouldn't be surprised to see Bitcoin worth $400,000 per coin in this bull run. When we really go into that parabolic phase of the market, it wouldn't surprise me at all. This cycle is just different than any other cycle. We've never had presidents talking about crypto in a positive way. We've never had so many countries adopting it and so many, it's never been taken so seriously as it is this cycle. In 2017, it was really only for like super nerds or libertarian kind of people that were like really into it for the idea of having freedom over their money, like the political reasons, or like really, really, really early investors or developers. And then in 2021, it was kind of like almost a joke. Like it was just a lot of people were getting into. It was becoming more serious in a way, a little bit, but still like a lot of people were just investing to make money. Like it wasn't like what it is now. Like Bitcoin and crypto now, this bull run is actually a lot more like a mass adoption kind of bull run, which is why I think it could go all the way up to 400K. I think 250K is like definitely going to happen, but it could go all the way to 400K. Bitcoin really could. Like it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest, because crypto has never been taken so seriously ever in its entire history. So I'm very excited about that. High Tech Redneck says, hope all is well, Dallin. Cheers. Hope you were able to catch what Mitch Louie had to say during Theta's AMA yesterday. Very exciting times. Take care. Well, thank you for the donation, man. I really appreciate that. And no, I was not able to watch that AMA, so I don't know if there's a link to it somewhere. If you want to send me an email, I'd be more than happy to check it out. And I will do some Theta analysis as well. We just got some other coins to run over first that have been requested here, but I'm more than happy to do some analysis on Theta for you. So cool, yeah, my thoughts on Bitcoin, 250K, I'm pretty confident that's going to happen. 400K, like, wouldn't surprise me at all. It really wouldn't surprise me at all to see 400K per Bitcoin this cycle. And I know that sounds crazy. I know it's like, whoa, no way. That's so high. But I mean, there's people out there calling for 10 million, and those are the guys you should be calling crazy. I mean, it's possible, I guess. Like, if all fiat currencies like fail all at once and like crypto just gets mass adopted like crazy, and then like maybe Bitcoin could hit 10 million per coin, but you'd have to understand that the value of the dollar would be like not very high. So you know, I think 400K, although it sounds crazy, is definitely possible. Like it's 100% possible. 250K, I'm gonna say that's extremely likely. Like really very likely that we hit 250K per Bitcoin. 400K wouldn't surprise me at all. $1 million per coin might surprise me a little bit. That would be pretty high. Anything over $1 million, we'd have to have some pretty crazy stuff happen for Bitcoin to hit those levels this, in this bull run and stuff. So cool. Done talking about Bitcoin. Got that one kind of out of the way here. Exciting times for Bitcoin. And by the way, we are at an all-time high, and don't be surprised if there's 10-20% pullbacks along the way up. You don't know exactly when one is going to happen, but they are going to happen along the way up. So just don't be surprised and don't get all bearish and freak out, because in the big picture, there's a lot more coming for all of these coins, including Bitcoin. So let's talk about XRP, because we have been requested to do XRP first in today's stream. So let's pull it up here. XRP. All right, so XRP on the daily candlesticks. First thing that you guys can see here is an inverse head and shoulders breakout. So we have our left shoulder, our head right here, and our right shoulder, and we broke bullish out of this inverse head and shoulders. So if we take our trend line tool right here, you can see we did break bullish out of this inverse head and shoulders, and you can take this inverse head and shoulders pattern and you can measure from the bottom of the pattern to the top. And by the way, go watch my video I made on my YouTube channel if you guys haven't seen it yet. YouTube, let's pull this up here. YouTube. right here, how to trade crypto chart patterns like a pro. It's an hour long, and I go in detail on all of the different trading patterns for crypto and the most common ones and their probabilities and all of that. So make sure you go watch how to trade crypto chart patterns like a pro. But yeah, this right here, this inverse head shoulders does have a minimum target. The minimum target for this pattern is $3.27 basically. Well, actually we got to put it right here. So $3.10 essentially would be our minimum target for this pattern. And we did break above the neckline. So you can see right here, if we take this trend line tool, switch it to a dotted line, just so it's easier to kind of see that that's the neckline, because most of the time necklines are represented with dotted lines. So we broke above that neckline right here. That confirmed the pattern right here. Now we're in a little bit of a bullish kind of flag structure right here, and we're even breaking bullish out of this. But it is possible for us to come back down and test the neckline one more time. That's really common for these breakouts of these inverse head shoulders patterns, for you to come back down and test the neckline one more time. It kind of shakes people out. They get all bearish again, and it gives liquidity for the market to go higher. So that is possible, but we do have a bit of a bull flag right now, so we could go higher. But either way, there's a really, really high probability, now that we broke above the neckline of this inverse head and shoulders pattern, that we do reach $3.10 as a result of this pattern. The other thing that I'm seeing here with XRP, which I showed in my video about XRP yesterday, so make sure that you guys go watch that if you didn't see it, is that it looks exactly like Bitcoin back in the day. So over here, Bitcoin on the right, XRP over here on the left, and you can see this Bitcoin cycle that happened in 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020, and into 2021 as well, right? And basically what happened is we had a big parabolic run in 2017, a big bear market in 2018, and then a double bottom, right? The market did a double bottom right after it had a big parabolic run in 2017 and a bear market in 2018. We get a double bottom pattern. And then we break out into a new bull market. And honestly, XRP, even though it took more years, it took longer to form this pattern, it really did the exact same thing. And this goes to show just exactly what I talk about in all of my videos and in all of my live streams, that the crypto markets and even gold, silver stocks, they do this too. They're fractal in nature. They repeat. The same patterns appear in these markets over and over again across all time frames and time scales. And it's no surprise, considering the fact that fractals are common throughout the entire universe. You can find them in nature. You can find them everywhere that you look. We live in a fractal universe, so it's no surprise that you see fractals in the crypto charts as well as stock charts and silver, gold. You see these same patterns appearing across the board. It's a universal principle. It's just part of the way that the universe works. And you can see here with XRP a parabolic run up, a bear market came, and then a big double bottom pattern, and we're breaking out into a bull market just exactly like what happened to Bitcoin over here on the right. So I think we're going to see a lot more upside for XRP this cycle, and it's going to be very fun, very profitable, and very lucrative to be holding this coin throughout this next pump that we're going to see coming in the market, because this really only just got started here. We broke a little bit above our old all-time high, but we really haven't gone for a parabolic run yet, So just be watching for that. It looks a lot like right here when Bitcoin tested its old all-time high around 20K and had to pull back a little bit right here, back down to 16K. Very similar to what just barely happened on XRP. Very similar, kind of reaction to the old all-time high resistance level. So I think another big run is coming for this coin, and it should be bigger than this first pump that we just saw right here. Should be a bigger pump than even that. So very exciting times for XRP holders. Let's check out ICP as requested in the chat here. And we'll go to a single chart. Looks like I've got some drawings on here. We'll take this and take a look here. Yeah, so a lot of times in crypto, you will see these big rounded bottom patterns happen. If a coin gets created and released to the general public right as a big bear market is starting, that coin is not going to see a bull market most of the time, because most cryptos follow each other. And if Bitcoin is in a bear market, and if Ethereum is in a bear market, and if all the major altcoins are in a bear market, then even if it's some new coin that just got released, it's probably going to follow them down. And that's exactly what you see here with ICP. Now let's go check out. I'm actually curious because I don't know a lot about ICP. I've done analysis on it before quite a few times, but I wouldn't say I'm like an expert on this coin. So let's make sure that we have all of the chart data here. You can go to charts.cointrader.pro and you can get all of the historical data on a lot of these coins. Now you can see that we do have all the data. So this is all of the data. Sometimes you can come over here on charts.cointrader, and because it pulls from multiple exchanges to make the chart, sometimes you'll get more historical data. So I like to come over here and check sometimes to make sure that all of the historical data is there. But it does look like we do have that here with Binance. But yeah, ICP clearly got released for to be traded by the public right at the beginning of a massive bear market. So we just see this huge crash all the way down here, just a massive crash. But that's totally expected because the entire crypto markets were crashing. So what happens a lot of times, if that happens, like if you get that type of a scenario, what you'll see is you'll see this big crash in the market, then it will start to go sideways. It'll do like a double bottom pattern of some kind, and then it will start a bull market, and it will have a proper bull market. And sometimes it can even get above the old all-time high. Not all the time, but sometimes it does. Sometimes you get like a big enough bull market after that rounded bottom structure that you're actually able to break out to a new all-time high and go into price discovery. But this is a pretty common structure in the market. To have a huge crash, sideways movement, double bottom, and then a big parabolic run. And actually, this is what Ethereum did. Ethereum, Zcash did the same thing too. But if you go back on Ethereum to early day Ethereum, and you go look at it, and if we go down to like the 3-day, might be low enough of a time frame. Look what Ethereum did. Ethereum gets added to exchanges. It gets added to Poloniex. It falls off a cliff. It does a double bottom kind of pattern here. And it makes this big kind of rounded structure here. And then it breaks above the price that it got added to the exchanges at. And it starts a proper bull run, like a proper bull market for this coin. Now, not all the time are you going to grow as much as Ethereum did, where you just completely go parabolic all the way to a new all-time high, and you can't even see that the dump that happened right when it got added to exchanges down there. But sometimes it does. Sometimes you do get that kind of a growth in the market. And if there's one thing I've learned about trading crypto, prepare to be blown away, like in both directions. Prepare to be blown away when bear markets really do come, and prepare to be blown away when the bull markets come. I've seen stuff go way higher than people's highest targets. And in the bear markets, almost always it goes lower than the lowest targets people are expecting, unless they're really crazy perma bears, But for the most part, it does go lower than what people are expecting. So with ICP, I do believe we will get a strong recovery off of these lows and a double bottom breakout like that. Now, how high it's going to go, that's harder to tell. It's harder to know exactly where it's going to stop. You can compare fractals. You can look at Fibonacci extensions. You can do all this different stuff to get an idea of where it's going to go. But at the end of the day, you really just got to scale out and try not to sell all at one price and keep a little bit in the market as a moon bag in case it goes higher than what you're planning or what you're expecting. But I wouldn't at all be surprised to see ICP head up towards $200 here. And then it could even go higher. It could go up to like $300 up here before a big bear market. Now, will it break out above the price that it got added to the exchange at? Probably not. This thing got added. It's possible, but it got added to Binance. And when it was first added to Binance, it was worth $2,800 per coin. So that would have to be a massive increase in value for us to get up that high again. That would be 34,000% gain from current price, which is possible, but it's very unlikely, very, very, very unlikely. Again, for that type of growth to happen in crypto, we'd have to see a couple things. We'd have to see more mass adoption. So we'd have to see the mass adoption really start to take effect in the same way that the internet did. And we'd have to see devaluation of fiat money. In other words, the normal fiat currency that people are using, we'd have to start to see a lot of them fail and crypto start to really take over. If that happens, then yeah, the value of a lot of these things could break out to astronomically high dollar values. First of all, because the value of the dollar will be way lower, so it's possible for it to be worth more. And second of all, because of the growth that would happen if crypto became mass adopted, in the sense that people barely even use fiat money anymore. For us to really see like a move that big here on ICP, or even like if Bitcoin was to go to $1 million per coin, we'd have to see those things happen. So those would be the stipulations, the parameters, or whatever you want to say, that I'd be looking at for that type of a parabolic run. I'm not betting on it. It's not impossible, but I'm not betting on it, I am betting on mass adoption on some degree, though. And it is possible for the fiat money to fail. Like, don't think that that's impossible. Go study Germany. What happened to their money? They were using their paper money as wallpaper. And if they wanted to buy something, they took wheelbarrows full of it just to go buy like a loaf of bread. Like, their currency became so worthless. So when money isn't backed by anything and it's completely controlled and manipulated and people lose confidence in it, it can completely crash, especially when it's hyperinflated, so it's not impossible. And also what's interesting, what happened in Germany right before the money became completely devalued, there was a lot of deflationary investing happening. And crypto is a deflationary asset. So we actually have a very similar economic landscape as what happened right before the German currency failed. Go look it up. It was a really crazy thing that happened. All right, cool. So there's ICP and XRP and Bitcoin. Let's go ahead and run over Chiliz, Link, and then we're also going to go over Theta as well. Justin Landtrip, I think 1 million is possible this cycle, especially if the U.S. starts buying and Loomis bill gets passed. Yeah, it's definitely possible. 100% possible. I 100% agree. Am I betting my money on it? No, I think between 250K and 400K is my more reasonable target. Go watch the beginning of this stream if you just barely tuned in, where I kind of cover why I think that's a good area for Bitcoin. But it is possible. It's 100% possible. Like I said, if there's one thing I've learned about crypto investing, prepare to be blown away. Prepare to be shocked and surprised in both directions. That's one thing I've definitely learned trading these markets. So, okay, cool. Let's pull up our Chiliz chart here, then we'll get into link. We've got a bunch of requests, so thank you for all the requests for coins today. Dogecoin will shock the world. I think so too, Karim. Karim Adi, I believe that's how you'd say your name. Thank you for tuning in to today's live stream. Aave says if you put fibs from 60K area to the next bottom, the 4236 extension tops out near 1 million region. It's possible. It's possible, man. Hola Dal. What's up, B? Thank you for tuning in. Les, good day, mate. I did once ask you about XRPT, and you mentioned it's still dropping, but it looks like it's done a turn. If you could spend a quick moment to look at it, thank you. All right, before I go reading through all these messages, because I got a lot here, I better catch up on my analysis requests here. So let's go over to Chiliz. And by the way, thank you guys all for tuning in to today's live stream. I really appreciate it. So yeah, Chiliz does look amazing here. I mean, people don't understand what market cycles do, but if you've seen a few cycles before, you start to catch on to it and you start to go, oh, this is what they're doing. This is what the whales are doing now. They pump it all the way up to where it looks like it's going to go vertical forever. And then it comes all the way back down to where it looks like it's completely dead. And then they pump it all the way back up to a new all-time high again. That's what they like to do. And it really is true. They love to do that. Like, I mean, can you blame them? Right? They're able to make a whole bunch of money on the pump, take tons of profits, let the market drop 90% on altcoins and 80% on Bitcoin. Or if it's just a short-term correction, like 30%, right? And then buy the living heck out of the dip where everybody's panic selling. Like, can you blame them for that? You know, like, really? I can't. So let's pull up XLM here. XLM is one of my favorite examples of what a market cycle can look like when people panic sell right before a big parabolic run happens. This is exactly what it looks like. So let's go ahead and pull up our Chiliz chart, stretch it out a little bit more. And here's XLM on the right and Chiliz over here on the left. And there's a few reasons I like to use this example. First of all, because it's a perfect example of what a wave 1 and a wave 2 impulse looks like in the market over here on stellar lumens. You can see here's wave 1, huge parabolic run. Then you get an ABC correction down, and that's wave 2. And so a lot of people panic sell the bottom of wave 2 because wave 2 has a tendency to be very deep and prolonged. It's not like wave 4. Wave 4 is not very deep usually. It's pretty shallow a lot of times. Wave 2 is very deep, and it can feel like there's no way the market's going to recover again. And that's what I see here with Chiliz. It's pretty much the exact same setup as stellar lumens over here on the right. We have a big parabolic run, then a big prolonged wave 2. And what can happen after that market structures, you can get a very, very, very parabolic breakout. Just like this, where the market goes vertical. And then, of course, it doesn't go up forever. A big bear market does end up coming and happening. You know, that's just the nature of markets. But you can see that's what it looks like in wave 1 and wave 2. So XLM is a perfect example to use here with Chiliz because they virtually look identical. And you can see just how far that drop happens. People really panic sold their XLM right here. People did not think it was going to recover. I was here during this whole phase right here because my YouTube channel first really started to blow up in 2017. And I was doing live streams, making videos, and I remember the sentiment of the market. Most people were very, very, very bearish on XLM here. And then look what happened. It was extremely profitable, the pump that came right after. So just don't be afraid to buy stuff like that. Don't be afraid to buy after a big retracement. It could be wave 2, and it could lead to a very vertical move. It's pretty common for crypto to do that, to do these big vertical pumps, big crash, and then a big parabolic run right after. So that's my thoughts on Chiliz. I think it will do something similar to XLM. Cool. Let's do Theta. Even though you didn't explicitly request for it, high-tech redneck, let's go ahead and do Theta. Because I'm a big Theta lover myself. Theta's in my top. It's honestly in my top 5 best holds for this cycle. Theta is definitely in the top 5. Might even honestly be in my top 3 best holds for this cycle, but it's definitely up there. So yeah, let's switch over to the daily time frame here for this coin. We'll zoom in a little bit and we'll take a look at what's happening here on the daily. We actually see that we broke bullish out of an inverse head and shoulders. So we have a left shoulder here, a head, and a right shoulder here. And then we have our neckline right here, and we broke bullish out of that pattern. So that can be a very common bottoming pattern, a very common reversal pattern in the market. And we did break bullish, and you can see we went all the way up to $1 after we broke bullish. And kind of what's cool now is that we have a bit of an inverse head and shoulders fractal. So we have a left shoulder right here and a head right here. So the first inverse head and shoulders, that little baby one, can now be looked at as a head to a bigger inverse head and shoulders. So now we have a left shoulder, a head right here, and then a right shoulder forming in the market as well. Left shoulder, head, and right shoulder. So if we can get above this neckline right here, then we can expect another big parabolic run here, or another parabolic run. I wouldn't consider it big because we're only on the daily time frame, right? But it would be pretty fairly big, you know. It's still pretty exciting. And we'll talk about big parabolic runs in just a second when we zoom out to the bigger time frame. But yeah, here on the daily, I would expect a fairly large move if we can get above the neckline right here at around $1. It's basically $1 per theta. If we can break above that level, that would confirm this inverse head and shoulders, and it would take us up over $1. In fact, our minimum target for this pattern would be $1.50 would be the minimum target for this specific pattern here on the daily. Now let's zoom out and we'll talk about big parabolic runs because that's exactly what I'm expecting here for this coin on the bigger time frames, which is why it's in my top coins and my favorite coins to hold this cycle. And we're going to go ahead and pull up the Ethereum chart. I know I show the same thing every single live stream, but it's still just as true as it was last week. This is really what I see coming for this coin. And it's really important to understand just how vertical the pump can be when you break out of an ABC correction. So here on the right, we have an ABC correction on Ethereum that happened in 2018. Sideways consolidation. Then look how big and how vertical and how parabolic the pump was that came right after that ABC correction. I mean, yeah, it did take some sideways consolidation and a little bit of chopping around before it really took off. But that's exactly what I think is going to happen here with Theta. Very parabolic run, very vertical move. And in fact, in terms of percentage gain, it will probably be a lot bigger than what happened over here on Ethereum because it has a smaller market cap and it's really primed for a bigger move than what happened right here on Ethereum. So that's what I'm seeing here with Theta. Keep holding on. Get ready for big things. This really is one of the best setups in the whole crypto market. So I do recommend checking out Theta. Go do your own research and everything, but it's definitely a really, really good setup. Cool. Dogecoin to the moon. Aave is funny, lol. Aave is pretty funny. Aave looks really good too. Like Aave is got to be in my top. It's got to be up there with my favorite, like, best looking coins in the whole market right now as well. Aave. Let's pull up an Aave chart right here. And the reason I like Aave so much is because it looks like 2015 Bitcoin. Like, it looks exactly like it. It's kind of like the Dogecoin setup that I've been showing. How Dogecoin looks a lot like 2015 Bitcoin kind of setup. But look at this. So we've got Aave over here on the left, and we'll pull up Bitcoin over here on the right. And we got to go to Coinbase, or not Coinbase, Bitstamp. There we go. So back in the day when I first got introduced to Bitcoin, it was in 2014. But I didn't buy my first Bitcoin until 2015. But the reason I bought my first Bitcoin was because I was listening to an Andreas Antonopoulos podcast with Joe Rogan. And Andreas Antonopoulos was talking about Bitcoin being like this cool way to have control over your money, where it's not controlled by central authorities, and it just sounded like it aligned with my beliefs a lot. So I bought my first Bitcoin, and I remember I was working at a Marriott hotel at the time, making $9.30 or 40 cents or something like that an hour, and I bought my first Bitcoin, and it was worth like around $200, like 180. It was like right at the perfect bottom of a move of a drop right here down here on Bitcoin. And so I was super, super excited to have my first Bitcoin. Like, whoa, this is the coolest thing ever, Wow, this technology is like so exciting, and this is really cool. So this cycle back here on Bitcoin, very near and dear to my heart, because of the fact that this is the very first cycle that I ever saw. Like, this was my introduction to a market cycle. I didn't even know that this was a textbook example of a market cycle, or that I was buying the exact bottom of one. All I knew is that crypto was really, really cool, and that it was exciting. And I was like, wow, this technology is really cool. Like, I'm excited about this. But I've always remembered it. To this day, this cycle is like imprinted into my mind. Like, I could never forget it, ever. It's just ingrained into my mind. And Aave over here on the left, it really looks exactly like Bitcoin back in the day when I first got into it. Before the 2017 bull market, where Bitcoin went all the way up to $20,000 per coin. After being worth like $200 at the bottom of its cycle. That's exactly what Aave looks like right now. It's like a spitting image of the exact same thing. It's an ABC correction down. The volume is like the same. Like, if you buy Aave right now, it's virtually identical to buying Bitcoin in 2016. Like, as Bitcoin started to bottom out. and make higher highs and higher lows right here, it's virtually identical to buying it in the same spot. So if you guys feel like you missed the boat on Bitcoin, first of all, Bitcoin is going to go a lot higher. So don't be afraid to have some BTC. And second of all, there are so many altcoins that are exactly like buying early day Bitcoin. Like it's the same thing. It's in terms of the setup and your potential like percentage gains, it's pretty much identical, like virtually the same thing. I got to text somebody real quick and then I will get right back onto doing analysis here. So yeah, don't give up on your altcoins, you guys. There's big things coming for the altcoin markets. Cool. Thank you for bearing with me for just a second there. So yeah, this is my view on Aave. Looks really good. Looks really bullish. Looks like it's ready for some big moves, some parabolic movement, and something very exciting, something very similar to 2017. And that's really what I've been trying to tell people for quite some time now, is that this bull market that we're headed into is a lot like 2017. Like 2021 was cool and everything, but we were in the middle of a global pandemic and everything did pump. But 2017 was like a proper full-blown bull market. Like it was stupid easy to make money. You didn't even have to do anything. And I really believe that we're headed into that all over again. All of the charts are set up for it. We're basically set up perfectly for a 2017 like bull market. So that's one of the reasons I've been making so many videos and making so much content about crypto, because I know it's going to be really good for my business, first of all. Second of all, it's going to be really good for my customers and my viewers and the people that watch this channel, because you guys are going to be able to profit off all of the movement that's coming. So it's going to benefit me a lot and it's going to benefit you a lot. So I've really been doubling down on my crypto content lately for that exact reason. Do you think the bull run will be over before the end of 2025? I don't know. I don't think so. Honestly, I think it might be longer than that. It could go longer. This one, it's a bigger accumulation cycle. The charts are set up in a bigger pattern than they were for the previous one. It took longer for all of these accumulation cycles to happen than it typically does. And yeah, I think it could be longer. So I don't personally believe it's just going to top out at the end of this year. I guess it could, but I'm not leaning towards it. I'll say that. Aave says loading BCH. Good move. BCH is set up for some good stuff. William Harvey says XRP is going to surprise everyone. It was a great video. Thank you. I'm glad that you enjoyed my video about XRP. Angel French says, hey, what's up? Thank you for tuning in. Carlos Hernandez Sanchez says Velo. All right, let's do Velo. Pull up the old Velo chart. So, if you guys don't know, my recent video about Velo is pretty straightforward, and one of the things that I talk about in that video is, it's called a leading diagonal Elliott wave. So let's draw this on the chart. So we're on the logarithmic chart here, and a good example, you can just type in Google, type in leading diagonal Elliott wave. And basically a leading diagonal is different than an ending diagonal. So here's an example of a leading diagonal Elliott wave. We'll pull this up on the chart here. Here is a leading diagonal. Basically, the way the leading diagonal works is there's a rising wedge in wave 1 and wave 2. So most of the time, the way Elliott wave theory works, you can't have a rising wedge inside of wave 1 or wave 2. So it looks like, well, you can, but a typical Elliott wave cycle doesn't. So a typical Elliott wave cycle looks like this. You get wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5 for your wave 1 impulse. So we're drawing the subwaves first here. And then you get an ABC correction down. And then that makes wave 1 and wave 2. So that's what a typical wave 1. Do you see how there's 5 Elliott waves up right here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then that shows wave 1 and wave 2. Those are the subwaves of a leading diagonal Elliott wave. A typical Elliott wave cycle looks like this. Wave 1 and wave 2 doesn't have that. Wave 1 and wave 2 just looks like a normal Elliott wave cycle. Looks like this, where it just has 5 waves up and an ABC down. There's no rising wedge. There's nothing crazy there. It's just 5 waves up in wave 1 and an ABC down for wave 2. And then you get wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5. So that's what a typical Elliott wave cycle looks like, okay? In this case here with Velo, the reason it looks a little bit different here is because it's a leading diagonal. So basically what that means is you can count wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5 right here, and we'll drop down to sub-minute so you know it's a subwave there. So those are the subwaves for wave 1, and a lot of times when people hear subwave, they think subway, and no, I'm not talking about sandwiches here. We're talking about Elliott waves. Subwaves, not subway, okay? Maybe you guys are like really hungry, so you hear the wrong things sometimes. But yeah, you have wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5, and that's all inside of a rising wedge, and that makes up wave 1 and wave 2. So that's what a leading diagonal Elliott wave looks like. Now, wave 3 is going to be bigger than wave 1. Excuse me. So when we do finally get wave 3 here, expect it to be bigger. Expect it to be more parabolic, more vertical than anything that we've seen down here in wave 1, especially since the way the leading diagonal works, the price is almost suppressed here in wave 1. So once that wave 3 really starts, then you get a very, very vertical move because of how suppressed the price has been in wave 1. I mean, you look at it and it hasn't had a proper 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ABC down. It just, it breaks the all-time high, but then it pulls back, it breaks it, and then it pulls back. It's because it's been inside of a rising wedge. So the price has almost been suppressed. Breaks local high, not all-time high. You can see it breaks local high, pulls back, breaks local high, pulls back. It just hasn't had a proper 5-wave impulse. That's because it was inside of a rising wedge. And that's typical for leading diagonal Elliott wave. So what I think is going to happen here for Velo is wave 3. And I think it's going to be very profitable, very vertical, even more so than anything we've seen between wave 0 and wave 1 right here. And it's going to be a lot of fun. If you've never traded a wave 3 or you've never seen one, maybe you're new to crypto, get ready for a very exciting move. And maybe if you're not new to crypto, you have traded wave 3s, you just didn't know that's what it was. Anytime that the market goes really, really vertical, it's probably a wave 3 or a wave 5 for crypto. Most of the time, wave 3 and wave 5 are the biggest waves in this market. So that's my view on Velo. Go watch my video about it 2 days ago. I think I made one, 2 days ago, if you haven't seen it yet. Okay. Theta, please. We already ran over Theta. Maybe you didn't see. Maybe you tuned in a little bit late, but I already ran over Theta. So rewatch this live stream again later, and you'll get my analysis on Theta. Aave says, spit and fire, D. Thanks, man. In the works now, global bond market collapsing. Yeah, I don't really look at bonds much. I'd have to go look at the charts. Let's go. Failed petrol dollar. I mean, hey, you know, if you look at any fiat currency that's ever been created since the dawn of time, every single one failed. So, you know, it's about time that crypto got invented and something better takes over. Bat. Oh man, I haven't gotten a bat request in a long time. We can totally do basic attention token. Okay. Let's take it off the log chart, although you can see a pretty clear Elliott wave structure here. We'll go back to that in just a second. So, BAT is a pretty typical market cycle here. Parabolic run, massive retracement, everybody's giving up on it. It's in the depression phase down here. This is also the maximum point of financial opportunity. So down here, even though it's pulled back really hard, the risk, when it's dropped this hard like this, the risk is the lowest it possibly can be, and the opportunity is the highest it possibly can be. Down here, 15 cents. So I do think we will get a reversal. If you look at the market cycle chart over here on the right, we'll pull it up and zoom into it a little bit here. You can see that the depression phase of the cycle is, there's always like one more drop that people are not expecting. And that's exactly what happened here with BAT. So this would be our anger phase right here. So you can see anger. Everybody thinks anger is going to be the bottom, or a lot of people do. And then it goes for one more low. And that's the depression phase. And that's usually where people are they've already sold usually by then. But they usually give up on the market. They're pretty down on themselves if they've been holding through it all. And there's a reason it's called the depression phase. It's because the market is in a depression. I mean, you think about what happened in the 1930s, the Great Depression. That's, of course, there was a depression phase. That's the human psychology of the market cycle, right? So that's exactly where basic attention token is right now, is the depression phase of its cycle. And I think we could get a turnaround here pretty soon, because that depression phase is usually a really good time to buy. And all the whales are looking and they see that and they go, oh, look, this thing super undervalued. We're going to buy into it down here. Maximum point of financial opportunity. Let's take advantage of this. So they usually buy in on the depression phase. And by the way, if you guys don't know, every cycle like ever does this. Like any crypto cycle that you've ever seen, there's always a depression phase. So understanding the market cycle gives you a huge edge on the rest of the market. And now let's go to the logarithmic chart and take a look at the Elliott waves here. So on the log chart, we have a pretty clear Elliott wave structure. You have wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5 right here. And we'll go to the yellow Elliott wave so it's easier to see. So there's our 5-wave impulse. And then this is actually a very unique type of correction. So every once in a while, a normal ABC zigzag correction looks like this, like that. But every once in a while, it's actually the other way around, where you get this huge wave A and then this little wave B and C. And that happens every once in a while, where you just get it's actually the other way around, like it looks opposite of what it should be. And that's exactly what we see here with basic attention token. You can see we have it's an ABC correction still, but the wave A is just huge and the wave B and C is pretty small. So that can happen sometimes, where typically wave C is either the same length as wave A or longer. In this case, wave A is actually the longest wave. So that does look like a complete Elliott wave cycle here on basic attention token, and I would be watching for a reversal here pretty soon. You can also see, let's see if there's bullish divergence. I bet there is. Let's see here. 10-day maybe? Maybe 5-day time frame? 3-day? Nope. Well, there isn't any bullish divergence, but there usually is. So, but I don't see any in this case on basic attention token. That doesn't mean it won't reverse, but it just usually gives you a stronger signal. There is a bit of bullish histogram divergence, though. You can see we have a lower low in price and a higher low on the histogram. So that is bullish histogram divergence, a little bit of bullish histogram divergence. So that would be my view on basic attention token. Theta will shock people. Yes, I 100% agree. Buy Toshi now. You know, Toshi probably will do a pretty parabolic run. I think Toshi will do good. Crypto Explained, what is up, man? Thank you for tuning in to today's live stream. ApeCoin, yeah, let's pull up ApeCoin here. Ape. This is a good coin. Good one for buying and accumulating. Let's go off the log chart first and foremost, and we'll take a look here. So this actually looks amazing. Like, this looks so good down here. I love to see this. I love to see stuff that just kind of looks like this, and then all of a sudden, boom, boom, you start to get a double bottom. I love to see that kind of a rounded bottom structure forming on the bigger time frames. There are so many times that I've seen this exact same pattern where the market just goes, whoo, just skyrockets after that, just blows people away. So I do like this setup a lot here, just purely based on just looking at the chart and the accumulation cycle that we can see. I also like the volume coming in. There's more volume down here than there ever has been, ever before for this coin. I wonder if there's bullish divergence. There doesn't have to be, but it does give you increased confidence. Yeah, there is. There is actually a lot of bullish divergence here as well on Ape. You can see we have a lower low on price and a higher low on the MACD. So that's a really good sign here for this coin. Yeah, I definitely, this is one that I really think is going to do good. Like, this looks really good to me. We'll see 15-day time frame, zoom out a little bit more. Yeah, I love seeing this. I love seeing this kind of a setup because I've seen this so many times where it looks exactly like that, and you get a parabolic run as a result of that accumulation pattern. So be looking in the markets, you guys. Be looking for stuff that's dropping like this, but you see increasing volume and you see bullish divergence as well at the same time. If you see bullish divergence and you see like an accumulation pattern where the market is pulling back like that and going down, a lot of times it could be a really, really good entry down there to buy it at these lows before the reversal actually happens in the market. So XRPT. Yeah, let's pull up XRPT. So, are you talking about the stock? I'm pretty sure that last time that we did this, because there's XRP Turbo over here on Bitmart. And that looks pretty good, honestly, but I think that's different than the stock. So you might want to clarify. I don't remember last time we did this. I don't remember, because there is a stock, XRPT. Oh, maybe it's over here on HTX. This might be the one that we did analysis on last time. Yeah, there's actually multiple versions of this ticker, XRPT. I see one on HTX. I see XPRT. Is that what you said? XPRT? XPRT. All right, so I'm glad that we brought this up, man, because the last time that I did analysis for you, I'm pretty sure I accidentally did XPRT. No, yeah, I think I did XPRT, persistence, on HTX. Maybe I did do the right coin. For a sec, I thought I didn't do the right coin, but I think maybe I did do the right coin. But let's pull it up over here on KuCoin because it's a lot better, cleaner of a chart here on KuCoin. And on KuCoin, we actually see good volume here. So that's something we didn't see on HTX. HTX did not have good volume, but on KuCoin, we actually have pretty good volume. And this does kind of look like Ape, a little bit different, but that same kind of thing that I was just talking about, where a coin is dropping, but you have good volume on the chart. Now let's see if there's any bullish divergence, because if there's bullish divergence, that'd be an additional reason to be confident in this coin. Yes, we do. We do see bullish divergence as well. So price makes a big lower low like that, but the MACD makes a huge higher low right here. So that's bullish divergence here on the MACD. We do see better volume over here on KuCoin. It actually looked kind of bad on HTX because there really wasn't a lot of volume or anything to really make me bullish on it. But over here on KuCoin, XPRT actually looks pretty good. Like this actually looks pretty good to me. So part of the reason that it didn't look good in my last stream is really where we were looking at. And that brings up a good point. You want to try to find wherever has the highest volume. So sometimes I'm doing these live streams, so I'm doing stuff really quickly, going from coin to coin, and I might not look through all of the different places that it's available for trading. But if you're sitting down to do your own analysis of these coins, you want to take time to go looking at the different exchanges to find two things. Number one, you want to find the most historical data possible, because some exchanges add them multiple months or years later and there just isn't as much data, so you can't see as big of a history of the chart. And number two, you want to look for the highest volume. If you can find the highest volume and the most historical data, that's going to be the most useful place to do your analysis. Now, with Bitcoin, for example, I use the BLX chart if I'm doing historical analysis. So if I want to see the price of Bitcoin going all the way back to its inception, I use the BLX ticker on TradingView, because that shows me Bitcoin all the way back in 2010 and 2011, like way back in the day when it was worth a penny, right? So this is where I go for historical data. But if I'm doing volume analysis, I go to Coinbase. So for most of my analysis on Bitcoin, I'm using Coinbase because most of the time I don't need to go all the way back to 2011 and 2010. But Coinbase has the highest volume. So this is where I like to do my volume analysis, and my regular analysis on Bitcoin is on Coinbase. So it does matter what ticker you're using, or not what ticker, what exchange you're using when you're looking at different coins. You're going to get different amounts of historical data, different amounts of volume, depending on how popular the exchange is. And so it's helpful to go look at different places. But back to your coin XPRT, if you look at it on KuCoin, it actually looks good. If you look at it on HTX, it did not look very good to me. So volume does help, but to see all this volume down here is a good sign. To see the bullish divergence is a good sign, and to see us starting to bottom out here is a good sign. So, yeah. Wow, Nero. I don't know if I've ever heard of Wow Nero. It sounds like it's probably on Deck Screener. Let's pull it up and see what it's all about. Then I gotta go. I got a phone call to do in just a minute to help somebody get invested in crypto. So, let's see here. Wow Nero. This is the last coin for the day. People are, wow, it's not even on Deck Screener. Wow. Wow, Nero. Gosh. Let's see if it's on TradingView. Wow, Nero. No, it's not. I don't know where you found this coin, Wow Nero, but it's definitely a hidden gem because I can't even find it anywhere. So, thanks, mate. For me, the persistence, though, I saw it bottom. Yeah, I think persistence probably will do good. It looks pretty good. Yeah, I wish I would have looked at the right place, but, whatever. It's just part of the game. Sometimes you don't go through all the charts. Coin market cap. Wow Nero. Let's see if it's on coin market cap. Wow Nero. Okay, it is on coin market cap. Let's see if we can find a chart here. Maybe it probably won't. Nope, it won't work on TradingView because it's not connected to any major exchanges. But you can see here a little bit of data here on CoinMarketCap. And this, I do like buying meme coins that look like this. I don't know if this is a meme coin or just something else, but I like to buy coins that look like this. Huge ABC corrections, volume starting to come in. You can see early signs of like a double bottom. A lot of times stuff like this will just go nuts. Like it'll just, especially when you're already in a bull market, like you wouldn't want to buy something like this right at the beginning of a bear market because odds are it's going to keep going lower. But when you're in a big bull market like we are now, where everything is just going crazy in the world of crypto, buying coins like this, low market cap setups like this, you can 100x. You can 100x your money sometimes. You don't want to go all in on something like this. But, you might want to put a little capital into it. And sometimes it could go 100x, 200x. If it's got a low market cap, it can go crazy. Like the percentage gain can be insane, especially when you're in a full-blown bull market. So I do actually like this setup. I do like the way this chart looks. A Monero hard fork, fixed market cap with no tail emission. A meme coin, how Doge was meant to be. Hey, that's cool. That's actually kind of awesome. I add this to my watch list here. Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. Let's check out the website real quick. Wow Nero. The future is now. Wow Nero is a Doge-inspired, CPU mineable, solo mining only, privacy respecting meme coin, baby. It was fairly launched on April Fool's in 2018. That's funny. It is a software fork of Monero, but with a light version of Random X, larger ring size, and a fixed supply of 184 million coins emitted over 50 years. Wow Nero has no trusted setup. That's cool. Yeah, this looks kind of cool. Oh my goodness. This is totally, there's hidden trolls on this website. Look, you can see balance 420 Wow Nero coins. Wow. Yeah, these people are trolls. That's cool though. I think the chart looks kind of good, so. Sorry, software fork, my mistake. All good, man. Yeah, that's a cool looking chart. So, still a hidden gem. Yeah. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. It's an hour and 15 minutes into the stream today, and I got a phone call to help someone get invested into crypto. So I'm going to call it a day. I didn't bring my guitar with me today because I'm in my studio instead of at my house. So next time, maybe I'll bring it if you guys want me to play songs like sometimes you guys do. Most of the time people will end up requesting, and it's kind of fun to play songs on my guitar for you. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. I love you. I appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you guys in future live streams. And as always, stay profitable out there.